Hey, what's going on everyone? Today I've got the 135mm F1.8 from Sony, and I just want to give you a little rundown on the build quality, and then we're going to take a look at some pictures. So the big thing with this that I noticed right away from the 85 G Master is the focus ring. It is much bigger, it has more resistance, it feels really good. The 85 G Master had a focus ring that was not really that smooth, and it just felt inconsistent, so that's a big improvement there. You have the same focus hold buttons, except now you have two: aperture ring, declickable, and then your switches for your manual and autofocus, and also the focus limiter. So those things are pretty much the same. The other big thing is with the autofocus. The autofocus has a new focusing system that Sony is saying is the fastest yet, and it is quite fast. And it's just really, it's a beautiful lens. The 135mm just gives a lot of compression. Really nice. Big improvements on the 85. I don't regret selling the 85 at all. And the only, I guess you can call a drawback, is it is a big lens. It's 950 grams, and it has a 82mm front filter thread. But what can you expect for a 135mm lens at f1.8? So let's look on a computer and take a look at some images. Large, the area that we're framing is huge, and the amount of detail that we're trying to resolve here is just really small, and it's able to do it. In fact, you can see that there's some tape holding this thing together. I had noticed it until now. We'll go to, actually, let's go back. And this is at f1.8. It's just insanely sharp, wide open. Let's try this one again, full car. Again, it's so sharp. It's so sharp. Here again, f1.8 ISO 100. This one was probably one of my favorites. This is a pretty cool looking car. Again, we'll zoom in and we just see amazing amounts of detail. This logo, you can see the writing on the caliper, the tire, and again, this is wide open at f1.8. It's really another big thing, especially if you want to shoot cars. You really need a long lens. You need a long lens. A wide lens is just going to make the car look distorted from front to back. The back wheel will appear smaller than the front, and it lacks that serious look that the 135 can do. So we'll take a look at one more image here, just so we can test out the close focusing. So here is the actual Z battery of the A7R3, and we'll just zoom in, and you can see this was at f1.8, and I mean, you can see the texture of the label itself, and you can see that depth of field is pretty shallow. But if this is the kind of framing that is required for what you do, then this will serve the need. You won't need to have a separate macro lens. All right, so what are my final thoughts on this lens? I can tell you it's the best autofocus and the best image quality that I've ever seen. I've had the 90mm macro lens. That lens was fantastically sharp. This one is just, it's so sharp, it nearly matches that performance, and it can do it at f1.8, so it's pretty awesome. On top of that, in terms of image quality and autofocus speed, this thing absolutely beats the 85 G Master, hands down. Like I said before, I don't regret selling that lens at all, and this will be my lens forever. It's just awesome. Now you might be thinking 135mm, it's a little, you might think it's a little tight, or you need to, go back further, or you'll be inconvenienced. I can, like you saw on those images, I'm framing an entire car. I'm standing on one side of the street, shooting across to the other side of the street, where the car's parked, and it really was no big deal. I didn't feel inconvenienced, or gee, I wish I could go back further. It was fine. I didn't I didn't notice any issue with that at all. So if you're thinking 135, you're hesitant about that focal length, it's awesome. And if you're just doing a portrait, you're gonna be 20 feet away, say maybe 30 feet away. It's not far. It's really not far. And the compression you get at 135 it's awesome. It looks really good. So that's it for me. Let me know what you think, in the comments, and stay tuned. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.